out. All of them. To the very last man. We'll spare no one. They all have to go. The mayor, the city council, and even the dog catcher.
I do care what you do with this information because it is important to our survival as a species. It's important to our planet. It is important for the world.
God in a nutshell. Where we left off was demons, basically. The devils, the ex-angels, the things they tell you aren't real, right? There are reasons they want to do this to you, but my explanation of their reasons is less important than your understanding of the way out. To understand a way out, we have no choice but to understand where we are now. Let me introduce you to the spiritual ghetto, the dark end of eternity's street. This is simply the world that you and I were born into. The testing ground, perhaps the place the programmer sorts out the parts that he would like to keep most. You see, it was at our conception that we made the choice that our Maker has tried to undo with incredible care, patience, and self-sacrifice. It was the first of our kind that invited in the virus that is this present darkness, turning our cradle into this quarantine. There are two prominent mechanisms controlling most all of mankind, like efficient programs to keep us running in meaningless little circles, never even making it beyond our own skin. You can tell which program has the person next to you bound by simply listening to which story they have to tell. One, a very prideful story of what self-perceived wonders they have done, even if such self-proclaimed wonders are crimes committed against the world around. These are tales of self-gratification, greed, self-will, self-importance, and the desperate ego-driven need to get ahead, even at the expense of others. People whose every other word is me, I, or mine. They are the gluttons, the great garbage collectors of life, collecting everything they can as fast as they can and clutching onto it with tightened fists and a grand fear to ever lose a single thing. They are exact opposites of the Christ mentality. They are violators of one of the single most important laws that governs the very fabric of the universe itself, whether you believe in God or do not. They do not understand the simplest of simple rules, that you must give to receive, and that the purpose of getting is that you may have something to give away. They are exactly like I have been, inlets without an outlet, a contradiction to the very flow of life itself. They scramble desperately to amass anything that is within arm's reach, building fortresses around themselves as barriers of tight protection from the outside world, only to find that the great enemy for which they feared all the while was within. Then there's personality type 2. It is the focuser on the problems, the troubles, the rocky path, the fanged animals, and the perils that always lie on the road ahead. These are the ones who bow in the temple of this present darkness, their own self-pity. They moan and groan, scream, whine, and beg. In their world, everything is always falling apart. It is this crisis followed by the next, like sheep crying for the wolves to find them. Are those the governing traits of us all? I have thought to myself. The glutton to the groaner, and all the subtle levels of insecurity that lie in between. And when it boils right down to it, both these are actually just outward expressions of mankind's single most prevalent driving force: fear. And the grandness of all the stars, the solar systems, the worlds within worlds, the great beyond, and all that which this feeble human mind would shudder to understand. We are such a speck, a tiny, tiny speck. We, and when I say we, I really mean I, have fancied ourselves as little kings, self-important, self-proclaimed gods to which all should bow to recognize our trite conquests, problems, and achievements. It's like a drop of water telling the ocean how important it is. Perhaps a grand statement to the thoughts of David as he wrote to God, "Who is man that you are mindful of him?" Which brings us full circle to the great question of the way out, and which way we go with our bicycle on the hill. Do we allow ourselves to be consumed by the natural state of this flesh? Do we accept the fear and grip it tight as we plummet to the deepest regions of abyss? Or that we go against the mechanics of this place. This great big finely crafted Swiss watch with all its delicate gears working in harmony until both hands hit zero. The moment when all illusion stops. Perhaps that is the moment that we find ourselves absent from the flesh and present with the Spirit. The moment I have come to understand that our ability to that thing called choice is gone. The moment that this all-consuming thing we have called the now becomes past, and the infinite and unimaginable becomes present. So, what is the choice?